On this episode of Cape Media News, Barnstable High School honors teacher Krissie Williams for her Black History curriculum. We learn about Mellissa Morris's Dream in the Trees exhibit with Arts Barnstable, and Cape Kid Meals delivers food to kids in need. These stories and more, this is Cape Media News. This is Cape Media News, your local authentic newscast for Cape Cod. I'm Gabrielle Rawson. Thank you for joining us. Has the Commonwealth's oldest county been overlooked in the vaccine rollout? Local leaders say yes. On Wednesday, February 17, 2021, Governor Charlie Baker announced that residents 65 and older are now eligible for the vaccine. But according to Cape officials, Barnstable County has received an inadequate supply, making it nearly impossible to vaccinate the more than 60,000 eligible residents. Although the county has executed regional vaccine clinics in Eastham, Falmouth, Hyannis, and Orleans, the county says our most vulnerable are still at risk of getting left behind. In a letter signed and dated February 12, 2021, nearly 100 Cape officials asked the Baker-Polito administration for the establishment of a mass vaccination site at Cape Cod Community College. They also asked for an increased allocation of vaccines to Barnstable County and for a provision of vaccines for municipalities who are working with Cape Cod Healthcare, community health centers, and Barnstable County to execute a plan to reach homebound residents who are unable to access the current vaccine system. According to a 2019 American Community Survey, Barnstable County's 65 and older population represents percentages that are more than twice that of the rest of the state. As of the taping of this show, the Baker-Polito administration has not yet responded to Barnstable County's request for help. Krissie Williams teaches U.S. history and world history at Barnstable High School in Hyannis. Last summer, she spent time developing a new curriculum called the African American Experience, a course that promotes education and diversity. I spoke with Krissie earlier this week to learn more. Cape Media News reports. You're watching Cape Media News. I'm Gabrielle Rawson. I'm here today with Barnstable High School teacher Krissie Williams, who was recently honored for promoting diversity in the classroom through a curriculum she developed called the African American Experience. She's also the founder and president of the Barnstable Ally Group, which is dedicated to amplifying the voices of communities of color in Barnstable. Krissie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for joining us. We brought you on the show today to talk about your recent honor and curriculum. But first, how long have you been teaching? And tell us, how did this come about for you?
Okay. Overall, I've been teaching, I would say, maybe 20 years, a little over 20 years. This curriculum, this class came about because Barnstable High School actually had a Black History class quite a few years ago. Probably, I would say maybe mid to late 1990s and to the early 2000s or whatever. And then it was canceled. And then a few years later, we decided to reconstruct it and make it a cultural perspectives class where we also talked about the histories of Native Americans, Hispanics, and women's history. And then it was canceled because of low numbers. So there's just really been a need to have a Black history course at the high school. If you look nationally, a lot of districts and states actually have Black history as a requirement for graduation, or some sort of diversity course that students have to take in order to graduate. So we were a little behind the ball, to be very honest. But now the class has just really grown, I think especially with the Black Lives Matter movement, and students in classes just really wanting to see a reflection of themselves in, the textbooks and readings and stories. And so we've been trying for a few years to get it, back up and running. And finally last year, thank goodness, it got approved. And so we've been, starting over this year with it. So it's been great.
Wonderful. I read that you spent a whole summer developing this curriculum.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that process and about what specific topics you cover in this curriculum.
Well, I have the way I learned Black history was I educated myself, and I also took a graduate class on it, and so I kind of had that a little bit as a blueprint. Also, one thing that my curriculum coordinator and I did was that we searched for different curriculums around the country to see exactly what their, African American history classes or Black history classes, what was important, what was the content, what themes. And so those also helped to shape what it was that we decided would go into the curriculum. So that was really the first step. And then after that, you're constantly just kind of going through and line by line and seeing, what's important, what's not important, how much time do we have. We were under the gun with COVID. We started 10 days later this school year than normal. So we lost some time there. And then also we wanted to talk about what skills we felt were important that students know when they, when they leave Barnstable High School. And one of the things that I wanted to do was I thought it was very important that we expose them to Black literature. So while we're also, whatever topic I'm on, we're also usually reading a book in conjunction with that time period.
Why is it so important to highlight the African American experience in school and in the community?
Well, Cape Cod is very diverse, a lot more diverse than people, think it is. And also, it's important because, studies have shown that when students are exposed to a curriculum or content that is about their experience, they feel validated. And if you look at the way I was taught history in high school, or perhaps you also, it was kind of like we had a textbook, and let's say it was about, I don't know, the Civil War, and the main facts were there, and then off to the side, there'd be like some sort of little graphic, and there'd be like one short paragraph about an African American or a woman who contributed, to whatever that particular topic was. That's just not enough. I don't think people realize how much African Americans have contributed to the American experience. It's Black History Month. An African American, a lot of people don't know, invented the modern day traffic light. African American invented the potato chip. How can we not have a sandwich with potato chips? And that was just out of a fluke. He was upset because he made a meal. He was a chef. And the customer sent the meal back and said the potato chips were too thick. So he got mad and he started cutting them thinner, and voila, we have the potato chip. So many, small nuanced stories that people just don't understand. And I just love to see the kids really, they really get into it, especially the book we just read, the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass. They could identify with those feelings. And you see their self-confidence start to grow. And you also see the white students in the class, they're very interested because it's a story unlike that they've heard before.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. African American history is American history.
Exactly.
We just haven't been exposed to it. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show today, talking about this curriculum, and keep up the great work.
Thank you very much for having me.
The African American Experience course is currently available to high school students in grades 11 and 12. Although it's being offered as an elective, Krissie and her curriculum coordinator are hoping Barnstable High School will make Black history a part of its required learning for future graduates. Up next, Cape Kid Meal's response to COVID-19.
Give me a moment. You've always protected me.
Thanks, Dad.
Every day of my life.
Hold on there, buddy. Hold on.
I'm older now, but I still need you.
Kids are getting addicted to prescription pain pills.
Can you still protect me?
You can protect them. Kids who talk with their parents about opioids are less likely to misuse them. When you have conversations about drugs and alcohol, make sure you talk about the risks of prescription pain pills too. Find out what you can say.
Did you know that 1 in 6 children on Cape Cod struggle with food security? Free and reduced breakfast and lunch programs might help kids while they're in school, but what about the weekend? That's where Cape Kid Meals comes in. Cape Kid Meals is an organization that provides weekend meals to school-aged kids across the Cape who might otherwise go hungry. We met with them to learn more about their meal program and to find out how they're responding to COVID-19. Emily Tulloch reports.
Hello, I'm Emily Tulloch, and you're watching Cape Media News. We have on the show with us today Tammy Leone, Executive Director of Cape Kids Meals, and Dr. Pamela Gould, Superintendent of Sandwich Public Schools. And they're here to discuss the importance of food security for school-aged children. Thank you both for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So Tammy, I want to talk to you first. Can you tell us what type of service Cape Kid Meals offers to the children of Cape Cod, and how is it benefiting our community?
So Cape Kid Meals provides weekend food bags to children who are at risk of not having access to enough food over the weekend during the school year. We partner with the schools who identify the children, and the entire program is confidential. Only the schools will know which child is participating. Cape Kid Meals just knows the number of children in any schools. And hopefully, the impact is to try and help the children over the weekend. Not all, but many of the children that participate in our program are also on the free and reduced programs at lunch, meal programs provided to schools. And so our hope is that we're going to provide stuff over the weekend to help them get ready for school on Monday.
And now can we talk about how does hunger disrupt a child's ability to learn adequately?
Well, I can jump into that one, just seeing it firsthand. Certainly, there is enough research and data out there that shows that any child that's coming to school that has not had proper nutrition is not going to learn appropriately. We know that for a fact. Even if they're worried about it, it impacts their learning. So that data is very clear. And so from a school superintendent perspective, that makes it very difficult for us to do all the things we need to do in the classroom. Tammy can certainly jump on it from other perspectives too.
Yeah, just from the years we've been working with the schools, just like Pam said, we've spoken with a lot of different people in the schools, and they've talked about the fact that children who are at risk of not having enough food to eat, not only does it impact their learning, anxiety is a huge impact. A lot of times, my children will be excited when school breaks are coming, and some of the children that are at risk of not having enough to eat see that as an anxious time for them, because they're concerned that during the time they're away from school, they're not going to be getting the school meals. So we know that obviously nutrition is very important, especially for growing bodies and minds, especially for learning.
With the current pandemic happening, obviously, schools are remote, they're not really meeting in person. How have you had to restructure Cape Kid Meals' business structure to ensure that you're still feeding the children who are facing food insecurity?
So what we did is we worked with all of the schools when they first went remote in March, and they all provided the to-go meals. So what we did was work with each of the schools to find out which sites that our families who participate are going to be going to, and we made sure that our bags were at all of those sites throughout the entire time that they were fully remote. And now when they're back in school, even if it's a hybrid, we're able to coordinate with the schools. If your child's in on a Monday and Tuesday, we make sure their bags are there then. If they're Thursday, Friday, their bags are there then. So we've just been working really closely, probably more than ever, honestly, with our schools since March when this all started. But we have made sure, and we're very proud to say that we have made sure that every week our bags have gone out, and we have not missed a week, even since March 13th when they announced school closure. We had our bags the following week, because we have a bunch of people who don't sleep, and we will do anything we can to make sure the food goes home. But like all the other programs on the Cape, we've all had to use, it's a new word, it's a word of the year now, pivot. We've all pivoted our models. And in addition to that, we also operated for the first time all summer long. Typically our program only goes during the school year, and we distribute our bags through the schools, so they send them home. Because a lot of the summer programs that offer meal services to children were shut down, our board made a decision to continue to operate, and we operated all summer. So we actually haven't stopped, but we're happy to do it. Obviously, it's very important.
So if our viewers at home are interested in, donating or supporting your cause, where can they find out more information?
We have a Facebook page, Cape Kid Meals, and we also have a website, capekidmeals.org, so they can go on that and get information. There's an email right on our website that will go directly to me, so I will be able to get those messages.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us today, and thank you for helping the children in our community who are facing food insecurity. You guys are making sure that they're still getting the food, even if they're learning remotely, and that's just very important work, so thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. For Cape Media News, I'm Emily Talik.
If you'd like to learn more about Cape Kid Meals, you can find them online at capekidmeals.org. Up next, Arts Barnstable highlights the work of Mellissa Morris. Welcome back to Cape Media News. I'm Gabrielle Rawson. Mellissa Morris is a fine art painter, teacher, and weaver. She's also the artist in residence at the town of Barnstable's High Arts campus on Pearl Street. Her newest exhibit, Dreams in the Trees, invites viewers to experience larger-than-life dream catchers that seem to reach straight up to the sky. We visited her as she was constructing her newest piece. Cape Media News reports. You've seen dream catchers before, but never on this scale. Entitled Dreams in the Trees, the new public art exhibit is the work of Mellissa Morris, a local artist who lives, works, and teaches at the High Arts campus in Barnstable.
My name is Mellissa Morris, and I am the local artist here at the High Arts campus in Hyannis. And I actually am known for more being an abstract painter, but recently sort of started playing with three-dimensional sculptural objects with the dream catchers.
Melissa's giant dream catchers are made with repurposed twigs she finds around the property and are accented with colorful yarn she weaves by hand.
I wanted to do the weaving part right into the trees, but realized it needed a frame, some kind of structure to hold it. So I was able to collect all of these twigs and branches, like all this dead stuff, and put it together and kind of give it life again.
Mellissa lives and works on Pearl Street through a residency grant provided by Arts Barnstable.
Mellissa Morris is our current artist in residence, and she is just remarkable. What she does and how she does a lot of teaching. She does a lot of her own inner reflection and wants to share those reflections with others.
Artist residency is just one of many ways Arts Barnstable supports art and culture on Cape Cod.
In the town of Barnstable, we have several programs that I manage to help support and provide opportunities for our creative community. Of course, we have the Artist Shanty program that takes place down on Hyannis Harbor. We have 2 locations. We rotate artists in and out through that program. Ongoing, it gives them an affordable opportunity to work and sell their product. We have Azleton Park where there's festivals and concerts. So again, our creative community is not just visual artists, but artists in all disciplines.
Like many artists who participate in Arts Barnstable programs, Mellissa makes her art for the enjoyment of others. But Dreams in the Trees is more than an art exhibit. It's also an experience.
I'm asking you to sort of listen to its sounds, be with it so you can feel it breathing. And the other really wonderful part is that it is up in the trees. And the trees, you know, the branches, they're reaching out into the sky, right? And there are a lot of there's a lot of writings and philosophers that associate the sky to our imagination, to our hope, to our dreams. And so that is the whole part of why they're in the trees, you know, and that the project is Dreams in the Trees. You know, I want you to be out here in the grass, in the ground, hearing and listening, connecting with the trees and looking up and just sort of lifting your spirits.
To visit Dreams in the Trees or to learn more about Arts Barnstable, visit artsbarnstable.com. In Hyannis for Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rawson. If you'd like to experience Dreams for the Trees yourself, Mellissa Morris's Dreamcatchers are located at 46 Pearl Street in Hyannis. To learn more about Arts Barnstable, visit them online at artsbarnstable.com. Well, that brings this episode of Cape Media News to a close. Please visit us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next time with a brand new episode. Until then, stay healthy. With Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rawson.